All right, happy Leo new moon for everybody today. It's interesting that it's the Leo full moon, but these cards aren't really signifying fire. I mean, not at all. There's the rain card, Five of Swords, which is the air element, and the moon card in the botanical deck. And so it's I feel like it's fitting of the situation. The new moon is happening just as Mercury is stationing direct, but it's helpful to realize that just because Mercury is stationing direct doesn't mean, boom, everything is cleared up, we don't have to deal with any of the annoyances that come with that anymore. That's not necessarily true. The fact of the matter is there's still a shadow period, there's still the Mercury going back to where it was, and that's the thing about retrograde, is it slides back into the last sign that it was in, and then it comes back forward. And so the energies that I can see us working with right now is more of a water energy, and really focusing on where we're putting our emotions and where are our emotions going. I feel like that was a strong message from the last cards that I pulled also. But so I'm going to start with the Five of Swords. This card obviously looks a little uncomfortable. It's a earthworm being cut in half by swords that are just flying around. And the way that I see this, because air element has to do with the mind, how we think about things and how we communicate things, and then 5 being the center between the 1 and the 10. So it's a problem and a solution mixed up in one. It's also just understanding that we're in the middle of the path, and sometimes that's a chaotic space and it's an uncomfortable space to be in, but still a part of the journey. And so a part of the journey currently right now, as I see it with this card for myself and potentially for other people, is that we're still in the midst of some confusion, some things that are trying to pull our mind away from what we know to be right for us. And it's a part of our journey right now to be really clear about what you're thinking about and what you're investing your mental energy to, because that's going to sway your emotional energy. And when your emotional energy gets swayed, that's when things start to happen, whether it be manifesting everything that you've ever desired, or whether it be taking yourself into a downward spiral. That's always kind of the case of the 5, is where are you going to be putting your perceptions right now, and how are you going to be doling out your energetic forces, in this case in your mind, and how you're communicating things so that you can get the aim that you're trying to get to. And also another thing about this card is when you're looking at the earthworm, it's helpful to note that earthworms are very resilient creatures. They are creators of the nutrient density in the soil. They were I used to have a worm box in the house that I used to live in West Oakland, and we would use that compost that they created in order to fertilize the plants, and had some really healthy, beautiful plants in our backyard thanks to these worms. And another beautiful thing about them is if you cut them in half, they are able to live. Those two halves are able to live and continue on in life. So just realize that any negative thinking that may be coming up for you right now is only meant for you to acknowledge and work through, but it's not going to stop the progress that you have going on. And any downward spirals that you're in right now, from frustration, from things that you can't control, that's just life. That's the ebb and flow of things. And the fact of the matter is even in this process where it seems like it's death, it's actually just a beginning into a different form of being. And so try not to allow the things that are trying to trip you up, and trying, these swords flying in the air and you're trying to dodge them, allow them to fall where they may. Allow things to happen in your life as they are supposed to happen, and try not to hold on to the frustration and the negativity that may come from being out of control, because in the reality of things, we are not in control. We are just going with the universe, and we're hoping for the best, and we're doing the best we can at any given moment. And then this card, the rain card, it says water energy in the front. And water energy just being our emotional energy, but rain specifically is this cleansing force, and it's this life-giving force. It brings water to the earth. It's this process of evaporation, and then the clouds swelling, and then it coming down, and it really taps us into the cycle of life and understanding that the water cycles move through us. And as we tend to be distracted and unaware of the cycles because we are able to keep ourselves unaware by continually being distracted, we don't realize that we are part of the cycles of everything. And rain is a really helpful reminder. And obviously in California we don't experience a lot of rain, so I can't speak to it that much. But when I was down in Mexico, it was actually raining pretty much every day in the evening, and it was just a really beautiful cleansing force to be able to go into the water while the rain was happening and just feel the water coming at me from all angles and just allowing myself to immerse in it. And I wish that kind of like cleansing, rejuvenating energy for all of us right now. And I think that this new moon can give us hope in a way of like that type of cleansing water, beautiful motherly energy, and realizing that like the water that comes from us and goes into the ocean, the rivers, and is evaporated up and comes raining down back on us just reminds us to like continually be in this constant state of regeneration and circulation and understanding that we are a part of everything. And the more that we tap into the fact that we are a part of everything, the more we can hopefully be in less of an existential crisis all the time, because we have too much time on our hands to allow like our mind to wander into the negativity or the individualism that keeps us from believing that we are a part of the cycles of everything. And regardless of whether we believe it or not, we are consistently a part of the cycles, and we should lean into that because it takes a lot of stress off of our shoulders. And this last card is this flower that blooms in the desert at night on cactuses. What was it called? I have it right here in my book. Queen of the Night is the name of this flower. It's a flower that rarely blooms, only once every few years, I believe. And it really is calling for us to sink into our intuitive nature, into our subconscious realm, and to illuminate the darkness within inside of us, so that the subconscious, I relate to the darkness. I'm not one of these people that's like, light is good and dark is bad. No, the white and the dark, the black, are complementary to each other, and we need the darkness in order to appreciate the light and the day. And the darkness is where we go into our souls and we understand ourselves better, we understand our subconscious patterns better. And so this card, this particular flower, it like emits a sweet vanilla scent, and it blooms at night to remind us of the brightness within ourselves and how to illuminate the darker parts of ourselves, so that we understand our own pitfalls, our own strengths, our own weaknesses, so that we can work with them. Because that is pivotally important, that we are acknowledging all aspects of ourselves so that we know how to work with it. And nothing is necessarily good or bad, it's just different, and you have to find a way to work with it. And some people can jive with certain things and some people can't, and so you need to know where you're investing your energy so that you know you're not wasting your time. And so this card is really just asking us to like lean into our intuitive nature, lean into our feminine knowing, because we're all a mixture of femininity and masculinity, and with the Leo sun bringing that solar fire energy and that brightness and that life-giving energy, the moon wants to balance that out. And so, and to get the moon card on a new moon is really beautiful. Just this newly regenerating time of really giving ourselves the space to like understand that we're worthy of care and softness amidst all of the creative energy and the life-giving energy of Leo. And so with all of these cards, I think that it's just important that we are paying attention to where our mind is going, to not get trapped up because of where we are at in the cycle, just allowing things to happen as they go, and understand that you don't need to control anything. You just need to go with whatever is there for you at this moment, to lean into your intuitive nature and to allow this water energy, even if it's like just under the shower, just get in the shower and allow this water energy to wash over you and think about what you want to let go of. This is it's the whole end of this eclipse season and this energy of like what we learned 9 or 10 years ago and then how that's reaffecting us today. And so what needs to be let go of so that you can start planting the new seeds, which is what the new moon's about, planting the new seeds for what it is that you want to accomplish in the future. And so now we have the cleanse of all of these retrogrades, particularly the Mercury one that's like probably hitting us pretty hard recently. And how can we take all that we've learned, all that we've seen, and utilize it for something more productive for not only us, but our community and the global community. So with that, I will see you next week.